Welcome to the Spadina Ethereum 2 Phase 0 Beacon Chain Testnet launch. That's the longest sentence I've ever said in my life. Hi, my name is Hank. You know me online as SuperFizz. I work with the ETH Staker community to promote access to staking on the Ethereum 2 network. Today's call is going to last a little over an hour, probably an hour and 15 minutes. The first 30 minutes are going to be what I'd like to call setup. We're going to talk about where the network is, how we got where we are today, and kind of the overall plan for Ethereum 2 scaling. The second half of this call, actually at the top of the coming hour, is going to be the genesis block of the Ethereum 2 testnet named Spadina. It is a short-lived testnet. We expect it to run about 72 hours. We're here today as a formal dress rehearsal. We want to make one final practice of all of the tooling for Ethereum 2 launch. So when we go live on mainnet, everything goes smoothly. So this testnet will begin this morning. We'll run for about 72 hours just to make sure that everything runs great. And then we'll look forward to what's coming up in the future of the testnet or Ethereum. So I'd like to talk about some of the people who are with us today. My crew is the ETH Staker crew, and we are housed at reddit.com/r/ETHStaker and at our Discord, which is linked from ETH Staker. And we also tweet on ETH2SCC. The primary focus of our group is to onboard solo stakers and support solo stakers so that people can be active participants in the ETH2 network. We also have on our Discord a really well-trained group of educators who can answer any question related to Ethereum 2 or get you to the right answer. So ETH stakers, do you guys have anything you'd like to say? Would you like to introduce yourselves real quickly? Hi, Nolan.
Well, yes.
You covered it.
We are delivering POAPs on this call. We all, different people from all around the world, make the Ethereum community. Having an NFT that represents that you being part of this historic moment can be a nice piece of pride for the future. So if you want to have the token that proves that you've been part of this launch, you just have to go to our Discord on the POAP channel and post a message with the link of the live stream, and you get delivered the link automatically. We have big plans for POAP on the upcoming months. So I suggest you to get this token because it might give you a special access to some very cool and exciting features. So go get it and stay tuned for the call. Thank you.
Thanks. I love to go on and on about POAP. The proof of attendance protocol, it's an ERC 721 token that is actually migrating to the XDAI network as a layer 2 solution, which brings us to Ethereum 2 scaling. The reason that Ethereum 2 is a necessary development in Ethereum is to improve the scaling capacity of the Ethereum network. When Ethereum 2 is fully live, we'll have 64 times the base capacity as a single Ethereum node does now. So that's going to be a tremendous improvement. Today's test is for phase 0, which is the first of several phases. I'm looking forward to hearing Danny tell us a little more about those later. Speaking of which, so we have Danny. Hello, Danny. Welcome. Danny is the organizer, I guess, of Ethereum 2. Do you want to tell us a little about what you've got going on?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I am, but I work with the Ethereum Foundation on the research team and help push a lot of this forward. My main job is to make sure that everyone else can do the hard work. And a lot of those people that do incredibly difficult work and help make this reality are on this call. And a lot of them are, if they're not on this call, they may be sleeping or they're anxiously at their terminal clicking away.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Danny Ryan is a humble hero, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from him later. He is, regardless of how he promotes himself, he is the guy that pulls all of this together. And Ethereum 2 has been a 5-year research project in progress, and this phase 0 beacon chain launch is the culmination of so much work in research, and then 2 years of implementation by a lot of client teams. And so launching today with us, we have the Prism team. Well, let me clarify. We have the Prism client, Lighthouse, Teku, and Nimbus. We'll all be launching on the beacon chain. Is that an accurate list?
I believe so. There might be some Lodestar experimentation, but those are the 4 primary we're looking at today.
Great. And so if you're watching from YouTube or the Discord, the Zoom chat, the best place to follow this call is going to be at spadina.beaconchain, and that is SPADINA.BEACONCHA.IN, and that is a launch browser brought to us by Bitfly. They offered to work with us to have a one-stop portal for viewing the launch, which is one of the things we had difficulty with in the past, was knowing where are we at, how are things going, and Bitfly brought that together for us, all in one place. Let's talk about the client teams, because they're really the group. You know, there was 3 years of research that precipitated the beacon chain implementation, and since then we've had 7, 8, 9 client teams working to develop clients to get onto the beacon chain, and today we have 4 that are very successful. Are any of you all here that you'd like to introduce your client for us? Prism, are you here?
Yep, I can start. My name's Terrence, and
Hi.
I think I have Nishan here with me as well. And I'm hoping Raul or President can join us later. So we are the E2 client written in Go, and yeah, super happy to be here. And thanks for having us.
So glad to have you. Looking forward to the launch. Lighthouse, are you all with us today?
Yeah, hey, I'm Adrian, or Age for short. I think Medi's also on this call. Same as Terrence, we're glad to be here. Everything's kind of looking stable. We just released a 12.2.13. So if you're running Lighthouse, I recommend updating to that for Spadina.
Great. Teku, are you around?
Hi, everyone. This is Jem from Teku. Yep, happy to be here.
Great. And Nimbus, did you make it?
Yes, hi, it's me from Nimbus, and also glad to make it.
Great. We're so happy to have the client teams with us here today. Very excited about the launch. And as I was introducing the eStaker team, I missed the most important member. Hello, Enon, how are you?
I'm fine. We are still working on the metric, kind of. Maybe we are going to push something, but I'm not sure. I hope it works. Just one thing before the launch happens, make sure to refresh the website.
Okay. So Budo does so much great work as a go-between between the eStaker community and Bitfly. That synergy has been so beneficial to both communities, and it's really the thing that brought us this launch portal today. And it looks like we have, based on the portal, 20 minutes left until launch.
Yeah, if something goes wrong, I will flip my camera to the guy who coded it.
Is he here? Stefan here?
Yeah, he's in front of me.
Hello, Stefan. So the Beacon Chain Phase 0 launch has happened as a series of a lot of implementers calls for about 2 years, and then Afri joined with the the testnets. And we began with the Schlesy testnet, the Woody testnet, Altona, Madasha, and today's Spadina. Afri, would you like to give us some background about how these testnets work and how Spadina fits into the big picture of the testnets?
Sure. I mean, how much time do you have? I mean, long story short, when I joined ETH2 testing efforts in early spring this year, the clients were all very busy with implementing and testing their own implementation, and there was some kind of piece of the puzzle missing to make them talk together, work together, and this is basically what all these testnets are up to. There were efforts previously, but with Schlesy, we had the first time actually 2 different clients engaging in consensus on the same testnet, and this was just extended with each iteration of the testnets. With Witty, it was 3, with Altona, it was 4, and finally on Medasha, we tried to have 5. I think it didn't work out as planned for Lodestar, but now we have Spadina, and just as a fun fact, Spadina is I think, a Trump stop in Toronto, in Canada, which is where the ChainSafe offices are. So I'm happy they are somehow involved anyways. And I'm really curious to see how Spadina launch will work out today. I'm actually right now on my way to my node to check the status, and I will hope I will make it in the next 20 minutes.
Great, thank you. We also have Camila Russo with us. Camila, are you with us?
Hi everyone.
Hi Camila.
Hey. Oh my God, so excited to be here. Yeah, I've never been to one of these launch parties, so yeah, happy to see how everything goes down and to learn from all of you.
Great, thank you. So Camila is the author of The Infinite Machine. Can you tell us from a 1,000-yard view, like this is your first ETH2 call, but how do you see this fitting into the big picture of Ethereum?
I mean, obviously this has been a moment that's been kind of awaited from the community for, I don't know, the very early days of Ethereum, right? This transition to proof of stake, to sharding, to a more scalable Ethereum. So watching all these testnets come alive with so many people participating, with validators, with stakers, like all of the community coming together to make this happen is super important and exciting. So yeah, I guess that's the 1,000-yard view.
Great, thank you. So for people who are just getting started, I guess, with Ethereum or Ethereum 2, just zooming out, like Ethereum began as this wonderful experiment to bring smart contracts to the blockchain platform, and it's been so successful that now we're moving into this new. Sorry, I was trying to formulate my question. I got a little hung up. Well, tell us about your book.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so my book, The Infinite Machine, sitting behind me, is a book on the history of Ethereum, at least from kind of from the reporting I was able to do. I know everyone has their own history of Ethereum, but so the idea to write it came from when I was reporting on crypto for Bloomberg News in 2017. I had already written about Bitcoin in 2013 when I was in Argentina. I saw how people were using Bitcoin to kind of protect against inflation and currency controls. And since then, I was always really interested in this kind of independent and parallel money. because I was living kind of the issues with Argentina's poorly managed monetary system myself. Like I was earning in Argentine pesos. So it was just mind blowing to me to discover, wow, like Bitcoin allows you to protect against this. And so since then, I always kind of kept track of crypto. And then 2017 came and I was in New York and had the chance to cover it day to day. And then by the end of 2017, I had always wanted to write a book and was kind of on the lookout for a good story that could make a book. And so I thought, there has to be a good story here in crypto. And so I started thinking, what's the best story to tell that hasn't really been told? And that's how I came to the idea of writing a story on Ethereum. I thought there wasn't really one book that captured the kind of foundation story of Ethereum for kind of non-technical people. There was obviously technical documentation on it online and different pieces of the story online. But I thought it would be cool to have kind of one place where people could read up on how this was created. So I had, an amazing time reporting it. Like I really tried to follow the Ethereum community wherever they went. So I went to different hackathons, to conferences. I tried to interview everyone involved. Obviously spoke with Vitalik and all the kind of early co-founders, team members along the way. And, it was just really, I learned a lot from the interviews, but also from kind of immersing myself in the community for like 2 years. And I guess I haven't really left since. And yeah, it just gave me a really nice sense of how like an actually decentralized network and community works, because it was very unlike writing about kind of financial markets for Bloomberg News, where there was kind of one story, like one official story that you could go to kind of a press person or like there was a website for the company and you could find kind of the story there. With Ethereum, it's obviously very different. And so it was really interesting to live that firsthand as I was reporting and trying to get like stories from all these different people from like different parts of the world, different experiences. So yeah, that's how the book came about. I've been really happy with kind of the reception and response to it. So I hope you all get a chance to read it.
Yeah, it is a fantastic book. And something you said really got me, that people, it's hard to find one place for canonical information about Ethereum because it's spread all around. It's not a business where you can just go to their landing page and get all of the information. One of the questions people always ask me is, well, where do I go to get started in Ethereum? And I'm like,
it's tough.
But that's right. Now we can point them to your book and they can get a great primer.
Yay.
So I have a programming note about the POAPs. This is the proof of attendance protocol token that everyone can claim for participating in this call. We do have a bot that's running on the ETHStaker Discord if you go to the POAP channel. And if you go to that channel, let me switch to it really quickly. If you go to POAP and paste the link for this YouTube stream, you will get a response from the bot. And it didn't start until a few minutes ago, so I know a couple of us posted early. If you're viewing from YouTube, this is the place you want to go. If you are, regardless of how you're seeing this, as long as you're within the viewing window, for about the next 45 minutes, you'll be able to claim this POAP. So Danny got his, so we are all set to go. Let me switch back to my notes real quickly. I wanted to check in with Proto Lambda. So Proto, what are the big research advancements that we've had in the past few weeks and months regarding ETH2?
Well, so there are two things, right? There's research developments, and then just pure like this implementation work towards phase 0 launch. I think for this call and for the Spadina launch, this implementation work is really important. And then for research, like there's many things to look forward to after the launch. Think of phase 1, phase 1.5, and then maybe somewhere in between, you have things like the secret shared validator work. I think Dankat is on the call as well. These kind of things are also really exciting to see and hopefully come to fruition before mainnet launch. Yeah, and so with implementers work, I think leading up to Spadina and then soon mainnet launch, we're really polishing, auditing clients, lots of review. That's where I'm mostly working on right now. I'm not as involved with the Spadina launch itself. I think the community can really now start at the net by themselves, monitor and get a successful launch. It's not as developers anymore that run these networks, which is really exciting. And yeah, looking forward to this launch.
Great, thank you. So we have about 8 minutes before launch, and in that time, I'd like to look to two of the people who have so much invested in this. Vitalik has been working with Ethereum since 2014. So I guess the past 6 years of your life. I imagine you're pretty excited to see this launch taking off.
I am, yeah, and it's well, it's probably, if you include the white paper, it's going to be 7 years in about a month or so. So definitely really excited to see ETH2 coming and to see the scaling dream and the proof of stake dream finally becoming a reality after all this time.
Yeah. So you made a notable push I guess it was a couple months ago now, that you really felt like it was time to get phase 0 out. Do you feel like that paid off?
I think so. I think it's like at some point, you know, the tires have to hit the road, I guess, and we do. And the thing is, right, that there's a limit to the extent to which you can kind of understand these systems in theory land and even understand these systems on testnets, right? Like proof of stake, sharding, and so forth they're not just technical upgrades, they're also economic upgrades, and they are pretty deep changes to the security model. And so I think that, and if the approach we took where, you know, I think in a lot of ways that's like even more responsible than the alternatives, right? Because like the usual alternative is basically you have a test and it's like 0 risk, and then it goes all the way up to 100% risk. And our approach is like much more, you know, 0% risk, then go up to 25%, then 50%, then 75, and then 100. And like each step up teaches you things that the steps below it don't, right? And so like 3 months each in each of these stages is worth more than, you know, 50 years in the first stage and zero time in all the other stages. And so, you know, I think we've learned a lot already from the testnets, for example, about the staking experience. And over the next year, I think we're going to learn a lot about how stakers behave in contexts where, you know, it actually does matter and there's a lot of economic incentives in play. And then the ETH2 chain is just going to kind of gradually add more functionality and become more and more important to the Ethereum ecosystem over time. And I think each step of that is going to be a big and interesting part of the journey.
Oh, great. You know, Afri tweeted this morning that Ethereum 2 phase 0 is the incentivized testnet for ETH2. I thought that was, I felt like it was on target. Did you have a perspective on that?
It becomes an interesting discussion, what is a testnet and what isn't a testnet, right? Because like there's a lot of different points on the roadmap at which the ETH2 network could actually become relevant to applications. So one example of this would be if we add the light client protocol, then potentially you could use the proof of stake chain as a kind of hook to get a block of the proof of work chain, and then you can get a light client for the proof of work chain, right? And that's super valuable. And you know, we need better light clients for the proof of work chain, and we need better security models for the proof of work chain potentially. And so that is something that could potentially happen, you know, even before phase 1 if we wanted. And I guess that would count as ETH2 being mainnet kind of. one other thing I've talked about is phase one. And with phase one, you have the shards. The shards have data on them. You can use the data for rollups, and rollups are already starting to become a really significant thing. And I think they're going to become huge over the next year or so. So, if your ETH2 network is already a base layer for all the rollup data, then I'd argue it's a mainnet. So I think it's phase 0 is definitely, or at least the beginning of it, and it's still the stage where it is an economic test to a large extent. But I think the time when the ETH2 network starts having real relevance to things in broader Ethereum land is much sooner than people think.
Great. Yeah, I've really seen layer 2 is exploding this month. So it's fantastic to see so much of the traffic being shifted. And, we could argue that some of it was necessitated by high gas prices, but it's great that it's happening. And I really look forward to shards coming online to even increase that capacity further. Buddha, if I can get you, I'm sorry, did you have something?
Can we,
Buddha, if I can get you to walk through, maybe screen share and walk through the launch portal with Danny, who will be explaining metrics.
I'd prefer not sharing my screen right now, but I can go.
No, that's okay.
Do you want
so how about?
Should I share mine?
Yeah, Nolan, if you will share, and Buddha can explain, and Danny will be ready to take the reins.
One moment.
He's going to bring his laptop and set it in front of the camera.
Oh,
so,
no, I'm kidding.
something worth stating is because this is a testnet, because we actually saw this in Madasha. We saw a little bit of technical difficulty at the beginning of the testnet. We also saw some people just not coming online because of the nature of the testnet. Maybe people not taking it so seriously. I don't really expect technical difficulty today, but I am curious if how many validators do we have at Genesis? I'm curious to see the participation rate. This could be ideally we see, above 80, above 90%, but there's a chance that we have
I think there are like 5,000 validators right now.
Okay. So hopefully we see 4,000 of them online.
Yeah. Nolan, could you do me a favor and switch to dark mode?
How do I do that?
At the bottom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Nice. So the idea is that the blocks we are at is going to be displayed, and if a block is proposed, it will turn green, and if it's missed, it will be red, and if it's orphaned, it will be blue. And yeah, we have the checklist at the bottom. The idea is that the first block that is proposed is very early, otherwise that will be a bad thing. But we are not really showing if it's going to be a bad thing. What you will see is a check mark next to the first block proposed title at the bottom. And yeah, if we reach participation rate above 80%, that will be a nice thing. Otherwise, you will start sweating.
Yeah, and then because of the way finality is handled at the beginning, even if we see high participation at the zeros and first epoch, we won't actually see anything justified on chain. But once we get to that second epoch, we can actually see ideally we can see the justification of epoch 1 and at the end of epoch 2, the simultaneous finalization of the justification of epoch 1 and 2 at the same time in the finalization of epoch 1. And so in the ideal case, we'll see all these boxes get checked and feel pretty good about 20 minutes into this thing. Each epoch is 6.4 minutes. Each slot is 12 seconds.
Oh, I got 10 seconds left.
We're about 4 seconds away.
3 seconds.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, but
so
we also
in the zero slot, we don't see anything because we have the Genesis. And then 12 seconds into this thing is when we can see the first block.
So yeah, we also only have one Prism node. So if our node is on the wrong end, it won't display the correct thing. So don't take everything for granted. Oh god. Okay. So it now iterated to the third block. Nice. The first block was proposed.
Good. Seems like people are seeing attestations and things in that.
Yeah, in the Zoom chat, give some shout outs if you're seeing stuff, those who are staking. I think there's a few people in here doing that.
Yeah, so Mami.
I got a problem with my Teku client. It's just flooding with errors.
Yeah, my tech is also fallen over.
Nice. Okay, now that we get the data, the blocks are updating. The first one was missed. So everything is delayed on the front page because we get the data first and then update it on the front page.
Gotcha.
Okay, aber ich habe einen Stress hier.
Are you guys hearing Stefan on the other side?
Just a little bit.
Oh god.
Relatively sparse proposal graph. Not great, not terrible.
All right, I'm seeing Lighthouse validators going, Prism validators going, strong YouTube chatters saying there's attestations submitted. They're pretty excited.
Galway's Teku is running well.
Wow, so many missed blocks. Yeah, gotta track back who those validators were.
And slash them in real life.
Yeah, I could imagine that people just deposited just to troll.
Well, we describe this as a launch dress rehearsal, and I know that a lot of users are concerned with the deposit process. They want to make sure that they can create keys and submit deposits. And I feel like some of those users are less focused right now on the chain and more focused on their end user experience of creating keys and submitting deposits. They may not be aware of the bigger picture.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a major component of why we did this, was so people can run through that process. But hopefully they take it all the way.
Yeah, our Lighthouse validation is very smooth and validating proposing blocks.
So that's not the best case scenario. I don't think we'll hit 80%.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Patricio, there was a question about how long people are able to redeem their POAPs. Is it just during the call?
So once you have your link, it doesn't expire. What's important is that you get the link during the call because they won't be delivered afterwards.
Okay, so you need, if you are wanting a POAP, definitely join the ETH Staker Discord. If you go into the description in the description of this video, there's a link to a Reddit ETH Staker post, and I believe in the sidebar there's a link to the Discord, so you can join that, join the POAP channel, paste the URL of this video, and you'll get an automated message to your Discord that has the links to activate your POAP, and make sure you post that before the end of this video call.
Hey, Dankred, like the error that you just reported, it was fixed last night. So if you update it, you're not going to see that issue.
Oh, okay. Right, it's working now after I restarted.
It's just a slot calculation error pre-Genesis, but yeah, after Genesis it should be fine.
I have a Lighthouse node and I can't publish messages because of a low pair count.
Do you have your ports forwarded?
I have 50 pairs right now with Nimbus.
Where do you see where the participation is? Like how close to 80 is it?
Usually the amount of blocks being proposed per epoch is representative of the amount of attestations you'll see, because that's kind of a sample of the larger. So participation's low. I mean, if you look at that, we're in the, probably 30, 40%, which is not amazing.
Well, attestations can be late as well, and then still included.
Yeah, for sure.
And what does it mean when like blocks are missed? Like there weren't enough validators to confirm them, or why does that happen?
There's a single proposer assigned to each slot. And so if that proposer is offline or having some sort of technical difficulty, then they will not propose. So we're at 33%. 33%.
I don't think that's 80.
That is not it.
I can just confirm that Nimbus is proposing blocks as well. We're good on our end.
Cool. So I suppose as long as nobody's having technical difficulties, I guess Teku had a minor one. Generally pleased, but I would love to see people come online. If we are building a chain and everyone that's running nodes is seeing adequate participation from their own validators, then that's what I want. Yeah, it looks like we're going to see the same thing in the CPOC. Well,
so do you think
I have a feeling we're going to build a relatively sparse chain for the next few days, unless people decide to come online.
And this is so much the thing that we wanted to remedy from Madasha. And it's not the end of the world, but it is a slow starting chain.
Is this
Next
a
time,
result
should
of
we just set the
being
inactivity leak to leak everyone by half within a few hours?
The what?
Well, I mean, the first question is it actually like people forgetting to start their validators, or do we still have issues with the clients?
Right, like there's not much incentive to be like very prompt about having your node running when the thing launches. Like I'm sure there's people who don't even realize that like starting your node before the network launches is even a thing you can do. So
right, something to communicate. Yeah, I mean, we'll spend today. Like, I think the primary thing we want to figure out today is do people have technical difficulties, and if so, we will resolve them, or were people just not online? And if that's the case, so be it.
And there's going to be economic incentive to be live during the actual launch of ETH2 Phase 0. Is that right, Danny? Is that a good thing to kind of think about?
Yes. Yeah. If you fail to participate, you lose money. Sorry, some of your ETH is penalized. And especially if the chain is not finalizing, which we're not going to see that in the first few epochs, the amount of capital that you can lose accelerates. Mariano just proposed slot 43. Very good. Glad you're online. Is anyone on this call seeing any technical difficulties on their end?
Yeah, I am. I'm running Prism, and I hit Genesis time, but nothing after that. My validators are testing, but the beacon node doesn't seem to be doing anything.
That's interesting. Let me DM you and we can walk through it.
No technical difficulty on the Teku side, but I was the one who registered our first 256 validators. Then I registered another set of 256. And with the first 256 validators, it's totally on my personal mistake. I lost the password. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, like the participation is like a bit due to that. Not all of it, of course.
Just given you Guardi ETH.
Yep.
Wow. Can't do that on mainnet, bro.
Yeah, our lighthouse validators.
I don't have that.
Fine. There's
I don't have that much either anyway.
I've seen other people that aren't doing port forwards having difficulty finding peers though, which is probably because we've got combined DHTs and you have to troll through it to find Spadina nodes.
Why don't we have UPnP enabled by default on the clients?
Nimbus has UPnP.
Yeah, we have an open PR for it. It's we've got it coming.
Because I mean that seems like an obvious issue. We're gonna have a lot, like so many people are gonna forget this.
I don't think so on the real network, to be honest. I mean, when you're setting up a node, you probably want to secure your network a little bit as well. And UPnP is a little bit too automatic for putting $10,000 on, I'd say. Like, it's fine for following a network when you're just connecting as a read-only node. But if you're going to be running a validator, do you really want to entrust your stake with
how is it different
technology based on
forwarding?
HTTP? Well, what happens is that it sends basically an unencrypted HTTP message to your router, and your router kind of randomly opens that port, and hopefully it works, right? Unless some other application, like a game on the same network or whatever, is hopping that port at that moment. So I'd, like in a real network, if you're going to be staking, I'd really recommend that you do something a lot more stable than UPnP, right? Right. The same thing happens when you restart your router, right? You lose the mappings and so on.
I would still bet that a lot of people forget this. It's just one somewhat non-trivial thing to do.
I'm not port forwarding and I have 9 Ps on my Lighthouse node. But as H said, it just takes some time to go through the HT and spot the right nodes that you want to connect to. So hopefully, Justin, you managed to get some Ps.
So I think this is a good time to summarize and wrap up where we are. So this is the Spadina testnet launch for the Ethereum 2 Beacon Chain Phase 0 launch of the scaled Ethereum solution. This is a dress rehearsal for the launch tooling. And what we're seeing is the launch tooling was very effective, but we're having the same kind of issue that we had with Medasha. That is, deposits that were submitted are not backed up by running validators, and we're missing block proposals because deposited validators are not submitting proposals. The best solution for this is to so what we have is a nothing at stake problem. These proposers have nothing at stake. They're not losing anything by failing to propose. This is why non-incentivized networks don't work. We're a perfect case study, but we're going to need to review this. Everything from the development side appears to be working perfectly. Especially this dashboard by Bitfly is wonderful. But where the rubber hits the road is users who submitted deposits don't seem to have been running validators to back up those deposits.
Yeah, I think we got about 90% of what we wanted out of this. We gave users a chance to run through everything. We gave ourselves a chance to run through everything. We're going to spend some time circling back and seeing what some of those technical difficulties were, because I imagine some people didn't turn their nodes on, and some people maybe had some technical difficulties, whether that be just UX problems trying to figure things out, or whether it be port forwarding or any sort of other error. So we'll circle back on that. But again, 90% of what we wanted to see today.
Great. Thanks, Danny. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to the Spadina launch party. We're still making progress. We have a lot to look forward to. We are so close to the phase 0 launch. What we can't do is let a lack of non-incentivized behavior to predict the actual incentivized behavior on phase 0. So we'll continue moving ahead. Thanks everyone for coming out, and we'll look forward to see how this unfolds. Thanks for your time.